Hi there. Let me begin with a remark made recently at Davos by the Belgian Prime Minister, Bart de Wever. Um, Addressing Donald Trump, he invoked a famous line by the Italian Marxist thinker Antonio Gramsci. The old world is dying and the new world struggles to be born. Now is a time of monsters. This wasn't this wasn't a rhetorical flourish. In fact, it was a remarkably precise diagnosis of the historical moment in which we currently live. Gramsci used the concept of interregnum to describe periods in which an established order is no longer able to sustain itself. But no new order has yet emerged to replace it. Such moments are not simply times of change. They are times of structural suspension, of deep uncertainty, and of political pathology. My argument today is simple. Contemporary international politics is living through exactly such an interregnum. Um, let's focus on the organic crisis of liberal international order with this information. I mean, what we are witnessing today is not merely a shift in the balance of power, not just another cycle of great power competition. It is something deeper. The liberal international order, constructed after 1945 under American leadership, and that order is suffering from what Gramsci would call an organic crisis. And that is to say, it is not only failing in performance, it is failing in legitimacy, coherence, and purpose. Its institutions still exist, its rules are still formally in place, but its capacity to generate consent, predictability, and strategic direction is visibly eroding. And this is not simply a crisis within the system. It's a crisis of the system, actually. On the other hand, let me talk about interregnum as a condition of global politics. I mean, um, we must also note something equally important. There is no coherent alternative order waiting to replace the liberal one. That is the fact we have. No new hegemonic project, no new normative consensus, and no new institutional architecture is currently available to reorganize global politics in a stable and legitimate way. And the result is what Gramsci called interregnum. Um, that's a historical condition in which the old order is no longer sustainable, but the new order isn't yet imaginable, let alone buildable. World politics, in this sense, is not in transition. In fact, it is in suspension. And regarding what does Gramsci mean by monsters? When Gramsci spoke of monsters, he wasn't referring to individuals. He was referring to pathological political forms that emerge in periods of structural vacuum. In today's international system, these pathologies include the erosion of rule-based governance and the rise of purely transactional diplomacy and the hollowing out of institutions, and also the normalization of norm breaking and the the growing dominance of short-term risk blind power politics. These are not accidents. They are symptoms of interregnum. Um, Regarding Trumpism as a symptom, not a cause, uh, then from this perspective, Trump and Trumpism shouldn't be seen as the origin of the crisis. They are better understood as products and accelerators of it. And Trump style politics is uh, destructive toward the old order and deeply skeptical of institutions and also hostile to multilateralism, but also incapable of articulating any coherent alternative order. In Gramscian terms, this is a classical interregnum politics, and it demolishes, but it doesn't construct a new order. When it comes to the European anxiety behind the Gramsci reference, from a European perspective, this is not merely an intellectual issue. For Europe, Trump represents um, the weakening of NATO's normative foundations and also the erosion of rule-based multilateralism and also the transformation of alliances into temporary bargains. When Belgian Prime Minister De Wever invoked Gramsci, he was essentially issuing this warning. We are already in a dangerous historical and vacuum. If this vacuum is filled with purely transactional norm eroding politics, what will emerge will not be a new order, but but a more brutal and unstable world. And also, let's see what is the broader structural meaning of this kind of awakening. I mean, so the real issue here is not Trump himself. The real issue is the international system is suffering from a crisis of order producing capacity. The old hegemon can no longer that, and the rising powers cannot replace it. And also, no one is willing of able to pay the costs of genuine systemic reconstruction. I mean, what we get instead is a world of managed disorder. A system held together not by shared purpose, but by mutual fear of uncontrolled collapse. As a conclusion, um, Gramsci's warning is more relevant today than ever. We are living in a um, world where the old order is dying, and also the new order cannot yet be born. and also the um, political space in between is increasingly filled with dangerous improvisations. And the Wever's message at Davos was not aimed at one man. It was a reminder that if this interregnum is not managed with strategic responsibility, it will not produce a renewal. It will produce systemic chaos, and that perhaps is the most serious risk of our time. Thank you for watching and listening.